Alright. We're going to talk about why I have a smudge on my glasses. No, we're going to talk about what it means to have a Sagittarius moon sign in your natal chart. So, Sagittarius is a very playful energy, and Sagittarian people are very friendly and they're adventurous. So any sign that is your moon sign is related to all things feminine. The moon represents the mind. It is what you're thinking that people don't know. It's the way that you analyze your daily activities. It's what you think about before you go to work. It's what you desire, the things that you want to achieve but you haven't yet, but you think about doing. It is the mind. It is also representative of the way that you get something, the way that you prepare mentally, or the lack of preparation. For instance, Sagittarian people have this confidence in the way that life will play out. There's this innate faith. This is a sign that is connected a lot to spirituality. It's connected a lot to just a confidence in life, a confidence that everything will happen as it should, you know, that things aren't necessarily set in stone. Compared to maybe a Capricorn, right? A Capricorn moon would be very harsh and rigid in the way that they think about things. Maybe even in a practical sense as well. So you can think of Sagittarius as someone who's always in flight, someone who's always traveling. It could be like the type of person that likes to go, or likes to travel for work. Maybe you have a long commute. Maybe you don't mind commuting. Maybe you have to go to a number of places throughout your day, or your career indicates something Jupiterian. Like there's a connection between Sagittarius and Jupiter, but for the sake of this, we'll talk about how Sagittarian people think. So it's like they're always thinking about how it is they can blossom, how it is that they, in their mind, they're not necessarily present. They are dreaming of where it is they want to go. They might be people who watch a lot of travel vlogs or like to look at pictures of landscapes, of new places. They probably have friends who are from a lot of places. And if they don't, that's what they want. That's how they think. So they're always like, even the way that they daydream, if they daydream, they're imagining being somewhere that they're not. They're imagining themselves on a beach they've never been to, or in a country where they don't speak that language. you might see that the things that they own are diverse. They're probably older, or even if they're not older, they look like they might be made in foreign places, because this sign is so indicative of someone who is always expanding. They're always trying to learn about philosophy, about different cultures, and if they're interested in something enough, like mentally, they're gonna probably analyze something from a lot of different perspectives. So if you're talking to someone like this, the way that they communicate is different than what they're thinking, because this is the mind, right? So they might be thinking, like, they're probably gonna prepare every outcome as if they were multiple people in their lives. So they're colorful mentally. They could be even visionaries, like they're very creative, and it's a creativity that is unknown. It's a creativity that is trusting in the moment. If they were one of your friends, they might be the person who will encourage you to take risks. They will encourage you to move to a new place if you don't know anyone. They'll encourage you to try something you've never done. This brings them fulfillment. This satisfies their mind. Another aspect about their personality is, again, also this is a fiery position, so the mind can run away. They can run away with their dreams. They can run away with passions that they contemplate but maybe never actually create. And the creation is a different aspect, but this is the way that they're going to manifest. And talking about manifestation is definitely valuable. So it's, if you see this card here in the Queen of Pentacles, an element that is Sagittarian about her is the color that she's wearing. Also, the landscape that she's in it's very rich. So there is this richness that they find in life, and they probably find this richness alone. It's almost like they don't need anyone to fulfill their imagination. They're supremely creative people. They're probably ideas people. And if you are considering hiring someone with a Sagittarius moon, you will find that they might be people who are capable of bridging co-workers, because they have such a universal language to them, and not necessarily language, but the way that they see everything is very united. So they might be a good person to link people together. Like they could connect people really well just because they're so accepted. They know how to mesh with other people. They can analyze where others are mentally, and even if they don't understand where they are mentally, they're so curious about knowing people. And truly there's this like love, it's like this childlike love that they have for learning, really. And since that's mental, it's always characterized by the way that they interact with people, you know. Like if they're a stranger, they might be the person that overshares or asks questions that are so personal but very philosophical. And they're definitely going to be someone who gravitates towards people who are from places that they are not from. Guaranteed, the closest people to them are people that have grown up in different places with them than them. So other things that we can say about Sagittarius Moon. The weakness, it's not even a weakness, but I would say it's a hurdle. So it's like a challenge that they may face is this continuous restlessness. They just might always want to be somewhere new. Like if they're working somewhere where it's the same thing over and over again, that might not work out well for them. If they're doing the same thing over and over, but there are elements that are different, that could be okay. Like if they were meeting new people but doing the same thing, that might be okay. That will satisfy them mentally. But until they find that satisfaction, they will be probably restless. There could be a definite restlessness to someone who has a Sagittarius placement. And if you are able to recognize someone who's kind of struggling a little bit, it's probably because they haven't been able to have that newness, they haven't been able to travel, they haven't been able to adventure in the ways that they like to. Like, okay, let's pretend that a friend of yours has a Sagittarius moon. If you were to spend the day with them, or if you were to see what they did in a day, you would probably see that they would drive all around town and find all these little places, tiny little hidden restaurants, like any foreign foods, like bookstores, things that have an encyclopedia of information from various places. If I'm thinking about just pictures, like items that represent the Sagittarian person, I'm going to go with so you can, you see the bow and arrow a lot of times, like it's almost like, you never know where the arrow is gonna fall. Like that is what captivates them. They like not knowing what's gonna happen. They have this, there's this, it's like it's this freshness about life that they always want to be on their toes in a way. You could also think about a globe. Like they might be someone who definitely owns a lot of maps, or like a globe, or they would be that person that has like a star chart app on their phone, you know. They'll break out the constellation app, or if you're talking to them about somewhere that you went, they're going to want to pull up where it is and see it on a map. They're very, very interested in moving and traveling, and because of this, they also might be people who think a lot about the ideologies related to karma, related to like destiny, and they could be interested in like fortune telling, not for the sake of like knowing exactly what's going to happen. They don't care about where they're going to end up. It's just fun for them to engage in that moment of uncertainty. Let's see. Can I think of any animals that represent the Sagittarius? Maybe like any I'm not doing very well with this, but any animal that travels for seasons, that moves seasonally, probably a bird, like any type of bird. It doesn't really matter what kind, just because there's this expansiveness to them. And also recognize that many other placements will impact whoever this person is, but they're always going to have faith in outcomes because they're so connected to the divine, and because they have such trust. They have this trust in the world. They have this trust in they're very passionate about what they think about. So they're always confident that what they do is going to work out, even if it's difficult to do, because they like not knowing what's happening. They like this to have to be in a state of adventure. You can think of fire, a flame. They're probably people who like to camp, who like to hike. They're thrillists. They could be divers. They definitely physical. They probably live in their bodies. They're cyclists, hikers, people who go and they just, run in a countryside and it's not about the competition, really. It's mostly about just experiencing nature, experiencing this immense life force that they love to be around, right? I want to say that chi, or like prana, the essence of prana has this Sagittarian quality because it's this life force. That's a really grand statement, but I'm basically just creating these videos without any preparation because I want them to be honest, and I've been studying this for so long that I just feel like there's an authenticity about just speaking from experience and speaking from what it is that you know. So I'm seeing someone standing in maybe in Spain or in like Tuscany, and there are all these different tiles, like different colored tiles around them. If you were to go into their home, and this would also relate to their Venus placement, but like I was saying earlier, they will own things from different cultures. They'll have a lot of different types of prints, like linens, things that are handmade and that tell a story. Thing like a troubadour. There's a very Sagittarian nature to a troubadour. That's a great icon because, you know, troubadours travel, they're storytellers, and they pull on stories of others to continue this cycle, and they're always traveling. Like even a carnival, people who travel with a carnival, or in some sense like circus, anything related to the circus, and performers, they probably have a strong Sagittarian lean, or they lean heavily on that element, which I believe is fire. So very creative people, artists, people pleasers, adventurers, thrill seekers, outdoorsmen. That's probably a good summary. I'm trying to think of anything else that might be worth saying. Advice for people with a Sagittarius moon: make sure that if you have this placement and you're feeling really stuck in life, you're feeling, because you know the moon is the mind, so if the mind is burning hot, or if the mind controls everything, so this is an incredibly important placement. If you're in a somber state, we'll put it that way, just put yourself in environments that bring in new experiences. And I'm not saying like you need to go make new friends or go talk to people that you don't know. Just like maybe go to like flea markets or farmers markets. Go outside, go for a walk where you're like passing other people that you don't know. Go for a drive. These are definitely people that just, you know, you have that friend that will just go for a drive, and they'll just like, you know, maybe even short trips, like just go on a short trip. You don't even have to go anywhere. You don't have to have a plan. They don't want to have a plan. They don't want to use a map. They just want to rely on the world to give them what they need. If you're feeling stuck and you have this placement, go for a short trip. Don't have a plan. Get lost. Go explore anywhere without fear, because that is also a major characteristic. They really don't have a lot of fear. In the mind, the only fear that they have is probably not seeing enough, not doing enough, not traveling enough. So maybe studying different cultures as well, like listening to foreign music, which I said for this other placement, and anything foreign is going to be helpful. Trying exotic foods, like that will satisfy the mind and it will make you feel alive. So that's all for Sagittarius. Thank you so much.